No one picture or video can tell the whole story of who you are or even what you look like. When someone swipes on your Tinder profile or chooses to like or not like your Instagram picture, they're liking or rejecting the idea of you that they got from your chosen pictures, not you yourself. Like us as humans, we don't always be sitting against the same perfect backdrop 24/7. We might act and carry ourselves differently with different people. We'll wear different clothes in different situations. We mentally feel different from minute to minute. So actually sharing who you are in any context, even in a physical sense, online is impossible to do in one picture at least. But then enter online personalities like me, or celebrities, content creators, anyone who shares a lot of pictures and videos on the internet, posed to candid to glamorous to just chill with no makeup on. It can be reassuring in a weird way to see so many angles of a person, so many sides to them, to see how multifaceted people can be. Obviously we have our real world friends and acquaintances, but I feel like following people online can add a lot of value to our lives in this modern age, because it can help us to realize on a very deep level that other people's narrow perceptions of us that might be based on a handful of photos or little snippets that they see that we share. And I'm talking about everyone, Facebook users, those perceptions and opinions don't actually matter all that much, because they're very rarely, if ever, correct. And if that's true of the physical evidence of us, because they're only really seeing what we're choosing to show most of the time, we're going to get into this, then it's definitely true of how people perceive who we are. When you follow a person, see all of the variety of how a person can look and be, rather than only ever seeing them in the same pose done up like the way it was traditionally before internet. Think of people like Marilyn Monroe and stuff, like you'd only ever really see them in a certain light. I think this helps us to accept and embrace who we are in our own skin a bit more, which is just really bloody hard to do nowadays. We grow up and we're force-fed various beauty ideals from all directions, by media, etc. Though beauty and body ideals change not just from country to country, but from time to time. And of course, from person to person, from the skinny catwalk models of the 90s to Disney princesses and Barbies, to bleach blonde women with big fake boobs, to the curvy models who dominate Instagram and magazine covers today. And even before all of them, there was a huge variety in beauty ideals. What we all have in common is we'll often do things and pose to accentuate whatever it is we want to accentuate. And throughout history, most of us have felt that we fell short. And then enter the internet and the ability to always pose in a certain way, photoshopping, lighting, makeup. I saw this amazing video recently by Iskra, who is a beautiful model. It was about the behind the scenes of perfect looking photos, often shared online on Instagram and stuff. Neither she nor I nor none of us are completely innocent here, but she talks about how good lighting and angles and posing can completely change what a person's body looks like. And she states that everything that we see is an illusion, from pushing your hips back and going on your tippy toes to create a thigh gap, moving your arm back to create the illusion of smaller arms, hiding double chins, popping your butt out so it looks much bigger because that's all in currently. It hasn't always been in, it won't be in forever. Eliminating the appearance of back rolls and stretching out your tummy so that your tummy rolls go away. As I watched this video, and I did enjoy it because, she's shattering this kind of wall and showing young people the reality of behind the scenes, but I was kind of thinking, why do we do all these weird things? Like, why are we such freaks? Seriously, our pets don't pose. I figured there must be an element of trying to fit in, to fit current beauty ideals. So I dug a little into why we pose the way that we do, and thus why we deceive people, however unintentionally. A lot of this stuff is so ingrained into us, and we're brought up kind of recreating what we see, but I learned that even our great grannies used to pose for photos, for portraits, and posing way back in the day used to be completely necessary to photography. Back around like 170 to 200 years ago, photographs weren't just taken on cameras that we could carry around in our pockets. Like now, if you want to take a picture of something, you just click a button and in a millisecond it exists. Back then, photos were produced and they took quite a long time. Like a moment would be captured over an extended period of time, because if you wanted a photo of yourself, you had to hold a pose and just wait. The photographer needed a lot of time to capture the light necessary to accurately recreate a scene. And obviously it's not necessary for us to do that anymore, but we still do it because we're so used to posing. It's expected. It's completely just part of us. It's a social habit from the technological requirements of the past. It's hilarious. We grew up watching people pose for photos. As children, we'd see photographs in magazines, on billboards, in our granny's boxes of photos that were posed. For feck's sake, even paintings, like classic art, they don't feature people sitting candidly. Like, people were painted often in dramatic poses that are definitely not reflective of how they would sit in real life. When social media first took over the world, and I remember this, I was around 16 when social media kind of first was a thing, but I remember people would be so shocked and horrified seeing candid photos of themselves from parties, from events, whatever, and like, you know, you'd get tagged in pictures when people would put up photo albums and you'd be like, do I actually look like that? I saw pictures of myself from like angles I'd never seen myself in, because when you look in the mirror, you even sometimes like can tend to pose and stuff like that. That's just human nature. We all want to present ourselves in a certain way, but when you'd see yourself captured in a moment, like your face all contorted or in bad lighting or whatever, but you'd question yourself. Like, I remember thinking I looked like an alien. Posing literally alienates us from our physical selves. How weird is that? And I definitely was not alone in these feelings, because then we saw the introduction of the ability to untag yourself when other people would tag you, and a lot of people will still utilize this. If someone takes a bad picture of them, if it's a picture where they weren't ready and prepared to pose, and so they feel like what was captured is not representative of how they really look. Again, which is going back to what I said at the beginning. You will notice that a lot of online personalities have like no selfie policies for meetups, that people are fascinated by trashy, shitty magazines where the covers are like covered in candid photos of celebrities like on the beach or whatever, and it's like zoomed in, or they're trying to catch them not looking how we usually see them, and then they put these on the covers of magazines, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, look at the state of this person, oh my god. Or it's a case of they're thinking, oh well, they don't really look so perfect all the time, and I can see myself in this, you know. It's showing a side to those people that we don't always see or ever see in movies or in their music videos and stuff, which are so kind of orchestrated and constructed. Just because we've not seen something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It goes back to that whole, like, if a tree falls down in a forest and there's no one around to hear it, did it really fall? You can be sure that even the most beautiful people in the world, to you, still look like potatoes when they catch themselves in their front-facing camera by accident. So maybe we wouldn't have become such posers if photography and like cameras had been as fast when they were first released as they are now. Who knows? Please join this discussion by leaving a thoughtful comment below. I absolutely love reading your comments. I'm really interested in knowing your thoughts on all of this, and if you could thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it, I would really appreciate that as well. Do subscribe if you're new. I make new videos every week, sometimes twice a week, and I will see you again in another video very soon.